Sea glass. Part 1b. Burn the sand. Window. The sun rises, revealing a field of flowers stretching out into the distance. Houses bloom from the flowers in a variety of colors, in rows, in diagonal paths, in curved lines, scattered without any sort of pattern. Some are more than just houses. Some are opulent mansions that overtake multiple flowers, made of stone and gold, silver, and jewel tones. Some are towers that reach past the clouds, made of stone, metal, and glass, or vines covered with flowers. Some have tunnels made of metals or corals that droop over the edges of the flowers and sprawl across the ground, crawling through the rocks, swirling around jewel spires that jut up from the ground, dipping beneath crystal-clear waves. Scattered throughout the flowers are buds still waiting to bloom. As the sun climbs higher into the sky, the world awakens. Creatures that look almost like light elementals begin emerging from the buildings. Wings sprout out from the creatures' backs. Wings from the old creatures. Butterflies, birds, dragonflies. They look like they're wearing the cloths and fabrics humans once wore. When they take to the sky, they don't float or flow like the light elementals. Their wings move, and their clothes flutter in the wind. She approaches one of the buds and waits as the sun climbs higher into the sky, but nothing happens. The flower doesn't bloom. The world disappears in front of her, and she's back in her home. The sand and fire elemental lets the sand gather from her emittance, slipping through the glass shards that surround her burning core instead of hiding them away until they're ready to join her glassy outer shell. She slips her fire through the grains, melting the sand into a crystal-clear liquid. Sometimes, the fire elemental wonders how she ended up with sand emittance. She hates the millions of grainy pieces that scatter wherever they wish. But once the sand melts into that pristine liquid, once it can be controlled, it truly feels like an extension of herself. She forms the liquid into petal-shaped shards, carefully inspecting them before she lets them join the rest swirling around her fire. It stings a bit to let such a flawless piece become nothing more than a part of her, but she needs to finish planning before she begins this project, no matter how tempting it is to start now. The glass elemental floats through the latest metal display in the East District with her closest friend away from home, a finished platinum elemental. She's not quite sure they are friends, but the platinum elemental is the closest thing she has to one. They met at a gold display when the glass elemental first arrived in the area. The glass elemental knew it would have been easier to meet elementals, to attract elementals, if she had socialized as glass, but glass can be impenetrable sometimes. Most times. Shedding all of her emittance to masquerade as a simple fire elemental hadn't drawn instant attention, but she's managed to keep some acquaintances. Some relationships close to friendship, even if they aren't quite there yet. Dwelling on that makes her miss her oldest friend, the only one she's certain is a friend. You can visit once you've established yourself. The metal display they chose to go to is a rose gold display. The platinum elemental has learned they're one of the glass elemental's favorites. The glass elemental doesn't know if she ever wants the platinum elemental to find out they're her absolute favorite. They float through the pink roses, polished to perfection. A cliched opening. The platinum elemental whispers with excitement-spiked words. Indeed, the glass elemental agrees. Rose gold rose displays don't earn places in the main districts. The elementals are too common, the idea is too played out, and it's just too easy to execute. It has to be the prelude to something more interesting. They wander deeper into the display. I like the detail on the petals, the glass elemental says, waiting to be stunned. The texture of the petals, or the dew droplets? The platinum elemental asks, as they float on. The petals, the glass elemental confirms. The idea of it having rained here before they arrived doesn't inspire any emotions in her. It's an idea more cliched than the roses, loaded with unearned emotions. The artistry of the details is more interesting to her. It's very well done. The platinum elemental agrees before she gasps at the sight before her. I want that one day. I want to take someone's breath away. The glass elemental turns to the end of the display, prepared to be impressed. The rest of the display is filled with crumpled up roses, tossed carelessly around the room. The glass elemental picks up one and examines her feelings. This is what she envies about metal more than anything, especially gold. It molds to any new situation, bends, never breaks. How nice it must feel to be able to toss away failure so carelessly, to be able to make art out of it. It's an ingenious idea, the platinum elemental says, a sentiment the glass elemental dreams of hearing. But she's still unsure if she wants to inspire the torrent of feelings in her core. It is, she agrees. Spreading out before her is a field of glass flower buds with small houses nestled within. Houses more spectacular, more intriguing than the mansions, towers, and tunnels she saw blooming from the flowers. She just can't quite picture them, but she wants to capture that feeling. She begins working on the first house. Not all the houses have to be spectacular. That would dull the true stars. She begins the foundation of a small cottage. The idea fits perfectly with her concept. Start off the display slow, with something less than impressive. That still sets the tone with a touch of magic, of whimsy. Humans love to associate cottages with flowers and fairies. That must be what those creatures she imagined were. Fairies. She takes her time on the first cottage, taking the time to include the marbling of the wood, a variety of tiny flowers decorating the roof and sides of the building, and other small details to make it special. Her favorite detail is a star-shaped keyhole. She doesn't know why she likes it, but she does. She doubts the other elementals will appreciate it. Keys and locks are too human a concept for most elementals. But the cottage should translate, and the rest of the details should be appreciated. She's getting ahead of herself. This display might not have a place outside her studio. Someone will choose you. People love glass displays. A part of her hates that truth. She doesn't want to be another glass display elevated for being a glass display, another piece of expected perfection. She has more to show them than that. She begins working on the next house, another cottage with slightly different patterns, different flowers, and different secrets. She makes this one look like it has just witnessed a storm. Droplets of water line the edges of the flower petals. Water drips down the windows into the shape of hearts. It's perfect. It's important to take some time just enjoying art in the middle of a project. The glass elemental knows that. She remembers that, but sometimes it's difficult to feel that in her core. She wants to keep working, to get closer to completion. Still, she makes an effort. She knows what could happen if she doesn't. She settles down next to the finished platinum elemental to begin their game. "You want to start?" the platinum elemental asks. It still feels weird to hear her ask that. Her water elemental never had to ask when they played back home. "You start," the glass elemental says. She struggles to come up with ideas. She's better at building off them. But that can be a blessing. When she does get an idea, she's not distracted by other artistic whims. The platinum elemental takes the first turn of the game. She makes a platinum base that grows into a bare winter tree. The glass elemental is tempted to let her fire bloom on the branches like cherry blossoms. But the goal isn't to finish the piece now. The goal is to let it grow until it breaks apart. She lets glass grass sprawl across the ground beneath it, holding back the addition of glass wildflowers. The platinum elemental leads platinum threads like a river through the glass grass. The glass elemental builds an old bridge over the stream, with the boards in the middle broken. A small platinum fox under the tree turns to the bridge. Fire blooms from the branches of the tree and falls like autumn leaves. Platinum petals pool throughout the field beneath the tree. She needs to go outward. If she doesn't expand it, it will collapse. The glass elemental adds glass lily pads to the platinum streams and puddles. The platinum elemental lets platinum flecks fall across the display. The glass elemental lost. She went up, not out. The glass elemental stares at the cottage with the heart-shaped water trickles before getting back to work. She starts another cottage. She made more cottages than she intended, too many to use, but they're the only ones that have turned out decently so far. So they've become practice. She adds a few flowers to finish the cottage before setting it aside. She can't afford to spend too much time on practice. Even though it's rushed, it still looks better than so many of the ideas she tried to get right. It might be time to accept defeat. She didn't want any of the houses to look too much like the ones she saw in her imagination. She wanted to make something more interesting, more spectacular. She just needs to keep working. The idea she's working on today is a human house made entirely of glass. Some might say the idea is too obvious. It is, but it's not one of the houses I saw in that dream. She finishes the walls, the roof, the clear outer core, and wonders if she should put anything inside it. It's the first time in a while she's made something new, and her first question wasn't whether or not she should smash it. That's progress. A bitter thought, but at least the glass house wasn't added to the pile of discarded glass shards. Instead, it joins her growing village of cottages. A part of her wants to hop on the one other idea she has, a house inspired by the desolate fields, or the lack of a house. She decides to wait. Momentum is fragile. A good idea can carry an entire day. A lack of ideas can waste an entire moon. We want to show your display. The glass elemental thinks about the display that she's only just started and wonders why. Do you just want another glass display? It doesn't matter. Are you really going to throw away this opportunity? Thank you. I appreciate the interest. When do you need it by? 3 moons. That's impossible. 3 moons, the glass elemental repeats. She must have misheard. 3 moons. Does that work? The glass elemental remembers all the advice and warnings her teachers have given her over the moons. They will do anything for a glass display. Take advantage of that. Amateurs don't have negotiating power. If someone gives you an opportunity, you take it. I'm an amateur. I can't afford to let this opportunity slip away. That works. She can do it. She needs to do it. The glass elemental doesn't have time to smash any more houses. She doesn't have time to find anything new. She concedes and accepts the ideas she originally saw, accepts that she won't be able to make anything better within this time constraint. The time constraint makes her feel sick. She needs to get enough houses made to fill up the buds. She can do it. She has to. All the houses are done, and there's 1 moon to spare. So many are redundant. Too many. She pushes her doubts away and begins outlining the placement of the houses. I need to spread out the similar ones. She knows that. I need to spread out the rushed ones. She will. It will be fine. I have 1 moon left. I could take some time to replace the worst ones. She might have time for that. The meadow spreads out in front of her, the scene she knows all too well at this point. She needs to find out what is in the buds. She floats over to one and sends a flare. Nothing happens. She sends out another flare. The petals shift, giving her a glimpse inside. A yellow fairy is sitting on a bench next to a shadowy creature with wisps that resemble shaggy fur and sharp teeth. The creature turns to her. The elemental flinches back, and the world disappears around her. She knows what she needs to do. The glass elemental spends the last moon taking her time to make a few small fairies and a few small old creatures. She sculpts the fairies to appear as if they're made of light, and the old creatures as if they're made of shadows, giving every other one a detail or two to match the house they're being placed with. She also takes the time to make some of the flower buds opaque. What intrigued her so much was the mystery. She still doesn't understand what she imagined, but that might be why it fascinates her.